everyone, it's Jess. What you're about to see is a snippet from my drop coat series where I go into depth about how to create the most gorgeous haircuts on those flowy, straight coats that just drop to the floor like Yorkies and Malteses. Mimu's not in it, so I told him he could be in this intro. Anyway, enjoy. Hi friends, welcome to this Yorkie class. So this dog had some kind of skin infection. She doesn't have any hair right here. So if that happens, then I'm just gonna pretend like she has hair. It's her first time here. She's anxious. She doesn't know me. She's fully overgrown. It's gonna be an overhaul. But I just wanted to show you how I approach a drop coat dog like this and do a really beautiful haircut. First thing I wanna do is comb everything straight down. So I'm gonna start with her back like this, and then I'm gonna follow the grain. And I'm just gonna take this off and kind of go down with the grain to create a blended look. And like if we create chop marks, it's gonna be fine because I can blend it. And can you see that her coat goes like this and then swoops in this way? So I wanna make sure I'm swooping with the grain at all times. The widest part of her shoulder is here, so this is where I wanna skim off. And I'm gonna try to avoid this dip as much as I can, and I'm gonna hand scissor her legs. I'm kind of skimming off the leg just so we don't have like chaps. This side has a lot more fluff than this side. I just want it to be nice and tidy, so I'm gonna skim off the widest part. So I have pressure and then skim. I'm gonna touch her shoulder, glide down, and request her arm. I'm gonna still keep going with the grain under here. If you're not sure where to stop, you can take your hand and sort of run it and see where the arm is. If you go too short right here, you're going to create a shape that you don't want. Basically, we want this to be a straight kind of cylinder. I'm gonna go straight down all over here. And I'm just gonna keep going with my number one. So I just wanna keep combing everything back, and I'm just gonna skim off. And I don't wanna get the top of the tail. I wanna make sure that this whole tail right here is really pretty. When you have a chin like this and you're like, where the hell do I start? This is a blob of fluff. Start with what you know and do little bits at a time. There are these cowlicks right here. Do your best to go with the cowlick. The shorter the blade, the less forgiving. The longer the blade, the more forgiving. I'm gonna do little bits at a time. So I'm gonna lift, going in. Let's do the other side. I could go up this way. So I'm just gonna skim, and I'm gonna finish that with thinning shears. I'm just gonna be really careful not to get her actual ear, but I'm only getting her neck. There's still this fluff right here. This is the neck right here. Put your hands where the cartilage is, and then just grab everything that's in front of that, and then you can see. We love her. I do go against the grain on the underline. I really just take it all off. I avoid the tuck up. I'm gonna scissor that. So I'm gonna lift up her foot, and this is where I use my curve shears. So this is really common on drop coats, is that they swoop. You really just wanna honor the swoop, especially when you're doing the face. Just gonna get anything that lays past the pad. Make sure that your clipper is flat. And I like to leave a little bit of fluff in between the toes to protect the dog's feet when they're walking around. The next step I'm gonna do is go straight across her foot. I'm gonna now scoop and get everything off the sides. Make sure that you have the whole leg length in mind whenever you're doing a foot like this. You can see I'm not really taking length off the side. It's mostly a scoop from underneath. So a lot of these Yorkies have this little swoop here. I'm gonna actually take my super fines and only go with the swoop right here. So we can now start to shape the leg. Now let's just go with the grain and get everything off the side. I'm gonna see how I'm moving my shears in the direction that the coat grows. So this is all tail fluff, and then this is angulation. The back has no hair, the front has too much hair, so I'm gonna try to balance. So I'm gonna scoop everything up and just comb down only this stuff. So I'm getting all this arm hair out of there. I'm just gonna skim all that off, anything that would lay past the pad, and then you can use shears. So now I'm gonna hold the leg up all the way at the top of her leg so that I'm not folding in this way, like her wrist is straight, and I'm not smushing the coat down. I'm way up here so I can really see this area. I'm just gonna take anything that lays past the pad. So now I'm going against the grain, so you can see I'm really creating shape. So you can see I lifted everything up off the floor. And then now I'm noticing that as I comb it, it's sort of getting a little bit staticky. So all Yorkies have these swoopy feet. So I'm gonna find her nail with my blade and go right to her nail. And then make sure that the foot is neutral, like make sure the dog is standing naturally. So when you look at the foot from the side, you can see it really hugs the foot. You can kind of weasel your shears in this way, but I'm feeling like it's not gonna be that great of an angle. You can try going this way, but I just worry that it's going to create a shape that we don't want because we're manipulating the coat in a way that it doesn't want to go naturally. So I can't quite see the shape, so I'm gonna have to memorize what I need to trim. So I'm going to lift the foot and just go backwards with my shears and just take off a little bit. Just take off a little bit with my speedies. And I'm using my speedies because they're a little more forgiving. See how it like just wants to hug the foot? So the key is to just let it do its thing. And now we can just tinker and finesse. And it's really important to have the nails as short as possible. So I skimmed here with the one, and then I did the foot with my shears. Here are my two shortest points, and now I'm just gonna connect the dots. And my goal is a cylinder. So I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to achieve my goal while honoring the swoop of the coat. And there's a lot of swirls, and I'm just gonna use my speedies, my Harsleys, and I'm gonna get this out of here, and I'm just gonna slowly start to shape. I'm going to go in on the front to create a nice angle with my speedies. You can see I'm giving her a little bit of a chest and some shoulder angulation by angling my shears and getting all that fluff off the front of her shoulder. I'm going to get the back of her front leg, and I need to do this with my Harsleys because I want to have a nice, I want to cover a lot of surface. They're just long. I really like how long they are. And I'm just gonna create a straight line all the way down, and then the back of her foot will have a bevel. And you can see I'm just kind of like going with the grain and blending that spot. I wanna take a little bit more length off the back. So just to get a better angle with my shears, I'm gonna lift. So now I'm just going to take this down. I'm gonna slowly start to take the coat off of the front. You can see right here, I'm just capturing everything and just starting to layer. I want it to look cohesive with her body. I'm just gonna take my super fine thinning shears and just layer. Take it down on the top, take it down on the sides a little bit. Right here, there's a little edge. So I'm just gonna soften that edge. So it's really hard sometimes to get the angle you need to your best, you know? You can go this way, using a combo of speedies and superfine dream shears. And I'm going to take this down a notch. My shears are angled under, I'm scooping. So just like word to the wise, you can easily go too narrow right there if you take the length off the side. I'm gonna go in this way and just take off a little bit at a time, just so it's pretty when she sits down, and I'll get I'll get all of this other side. Let's get her face, because what am I gonna do with this face? Chaos, pure chaos. So with Yorkies, their coats grow this way. So I wanna make sure that when I go in between her eyes, that I'm scooping up with the grain. You just wanna have little scoops and take off little bits at a time, and I will clean this up with thinning shears, but to get this area, I really wanna have consistency. I don't wanna leave lashes, I don't really care about her lashes. They're not amazing. And when lashes are just kind of lame and boring and just don't swoop up or anything, I just take them off. So the further away I get from the eye is when I'm gonna start using a thinning shear. So I'm gonna do a curved shear close to the eye to get a really nice intentional line. And then the further away from her eye, I'm gonna just blend it out a little bit more. So you can see now we can really see the side of the eye. I'm just gonna finesse and check my work. I'm gonna take a little bit off at a time. A little bit off, and you can see it's heavier under here, this swoop right here. I'm gonna lift this stuff out of here, and I'm gonna take my super fine thinning shears, and I'm gonna open it up like this, and I'm gonna go with the grain and just get everything that's in the inside. But the main thing I'm doing is I'm only working on the bangs, and I'm not getting anything on the top of her head. I'm gonna take my Harsleys and I'm just gonna chomp, chomp, chomp everything that lays past where I left my clipper line. And I'm gonna not trim this at all because it grows in. So if I were to trim this, it would just be like way too short. You're gonna slowly start to reveal the jawline. And my goal is to create a U from the nose to the ear. So I'm just gonna chomp, chomp, chomp right here. I'm leaving the ear. I'm just chomping and getting that jawline only. I am going against the grain, but I'm going to blend it. So I'm gonna take my speedies and point them right to me so I can finish this jawline. I'm starting a U, like this, combing everything the way it wants to grow and go. I'm just gonna go straight across. Chomp, chomp, chomp. So now I'm just gonna go at an angle and just take this edge off. So now we're just rounding and rounding, layering, rounding. So I'm just gonna continue to whittle away and round. And you can see, like, I think the owner chopped this, so I'm just gonna blend that in. Yay, good girl. So I don't wanna take anything off the front of the ear. Shh, because that makes it harsh. I need this to frame the front of the ear. And then just take this off and layer it with my super fine thinning shears. And I'm starting from the top of the head and then like kind of rolling down. So I'm just gonna taper this down a tiny bit. So I'm gonna find the tip of her ear and just take it off. Chomp, chomp, chomp. I'm gonna perk her ear up with my left hand. I'm going with the grain and I want some coat to frame the ear. It kind of looks chaotic right now, but I promise I know where I'm going with this. Can you see it's starting to take some shape? See how it looks more natural? And the inside right here is a little sloppy. So all I'm gonna do is open the ear so I can get a better angle and just blend that in. So I finished her little haircut, scissored her underline. For her tail, because she had like a lot of chop marks and matting, I just kind of like took it down, and she's got these two lengths. So what I did was I just trimmed the edges, the end off to bring it up so that there wasn't such an extreme length difference. This is the final look. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna go have a cocktail. Click the link below to see the entire drop coat series, and I'll see you in there. Bye.